Elias Finch was a man haunted by guilt. By 1876, he had become a drifter, wandering through the wilderness, unable to escape the memories of the men who had died because of him. His wandering led him to the Red River, a treacherous stretch of water known as the River of Shadows. The locals warned travelers to stay away after dark, but Elias ignored them. The river was dark and churning, reflecting the storm clouds overhead. As night fell, the river seemed to take on a life of its own. The wind whipped through the trees, carrying with it the faint echoes of voices. Familiar voices, ones Elias hadn't heard in years. They belonged to the men who had died because of him. Desperate to escape the memories, Elias built a fire beside the river. But the voices grew louder, forming words that Elias couldn't ignore. "Come to us," they whispered. "Come to the river." He covered his ears, but the voices were inside his head, whispering of sins long past. He could see their faces in the flames, his old comrades, their eyes accusing, their mouths twisted in silent screams. Suddenly, the river began to rise, creeping closer to his camp. Elias scrambled to his feet, backing away from the encroaching tide. Then, through the mist rising off the water, he saw them, figures emerging from the river, their forms twisted and broken. They reached out to him, their eyes hollow, their mouths moving in unison with the river's song. "Join us, Elias," they called. "Join us in the river." Elias stumbled back, his mind screaming for him to run, but his legs refused to move. The figures drew closer, the water rising with them. With a last, desperate effort, Elias broke free and ran, the river's grip slipping away as he plunged into the darkness of the woods. Elias never spoke of that night. He left Indian Territory the next morning, heading west as far from the River of Shadows as he could get. But the river never really let him go. In his dreams, he could still hear the voices, calling him back, calling him to the place where the past could no longer be outrun. And deep down, Elias knew that one day, the river would claim him, just as it had claimed so many others.